Lebanon is one of the oldest continuously inhabited places on Earth. For more than 7,000 years, this small land on the eastern Mediterranean has stood at the crossroads of civilizations. Phoenician sailors crossed the seas from its shores. Roman engineers raised some of the greatest temples of the ancient world. Monks sought refuge in its mountains. Crusaders, caliphs, and empires fought to control it. Kingdoms rose. Empires fell. Borders changed. Yet through every conquest, every migration, and every new chapter, Lebanon endured. This is the story of how thousands of years of history shaped the Lebanon we know today. Long before written history, people settled along Lebanon's fertile coastline and mountain valleys. Small farming communities gradually developed into thriving villages. Its location between the Mediterranean Sea and the mountains would shape its destiny for thousands of years. Around 5,000 years ago, the Phoenicians transformed Lebanon into one of the greatest maritime civilizations in history. From cities like Byblos, Sidon, and Tyre, they sailed across the Mediterranean, trading cedar wood, glass, wine, and the famous Tyrian purple dye. They founded colonies as far away as Spain and North Africa, including the legendary city of Carthage. Their greatest gift to civilization was an alphabet that became the foundation of many modern writing systems.
50 shekels for the lot.
Too much. I offer 30 for the glass.
We have the finest cedar in Byblos.
Lebanon's wealth attracted powerful empires. One after another, the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Persians brought the Phoenician cities under their rule. Yet despite foreign domination, the coastal cities continued to prosper through trade across the Mediterranean. In the 8th century BC, the Assyrian Empire expanded westward, bringing the Phoenician cities under its control. Rather than destroying the cities, the Assyrians demanded tribute while allowing trade to continue. Some cities resisted. Tyre endured one of history's longest sieges, refusing to surrender for years. When the Assyrian Empire fell, Babylon inherited its territories. Under Nebuchadnezzar II, Tyre endured another prolonged siege as control of the region passed from one empire to the next. Under Persian rule, the Phoenician cities remained prosperous. Their skilled sailors formed the backbone of the Persian navy, carrying imperial fleets across the Mediterranean. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great arrived. Tyre refused to surrender. After a 7-month siege, Alexander built an enormous stone causeway across the sea to reach the island city. The remains of that causeway still connect Tyre to the mainland today. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great conquered the region, bringing Greek culture, language, and ideas to Lebanon.
Reason guides our path.
After his death, the land became part of the Hellenistic kingdoms, where Greek traditions blended with long-established Phoenician customs. Cities continued to prosper as centers of trade, learning, and culture, laying the foundations for the Roman era that would follow.
The truth lies beyond the shadows. Finest quality from the east.
Under Roman rule, Lebanon entered another golden age. Roads connected cities. Magnificent temples rose above Baalbek. Beirut became one of the most respected centers for Roman law. It was also during this period that Christianity began spreading throughout the region. Around the 4th century, a humble monk named Maroon lived in the mountains near Antioch, in present-day Syria. Although he never lived in Lebanon, His life of prayer, simplicity, and devotion inspired thousands.
Welcome, my children.
We seek your guidance.
After his death, his followers formed what would eventually become the Maronite Church. After the Roman Empire split in 395 AD, Lebanon became part of the Byzantine Empire, ruled from Constantinople.
Sanctus, Sanctus.
Christianity flourished across the region as churches, monasteries, and thriving coastal cities strengthened Lebanon's role as an important center of faith, trade, and learning. In the 7th century, the Umayyad Caliphate established its capital in nearby Damascus, making Lebanon part of one of the largest empires in history. During this period, trade flourished once again along the Mediterranean coast.
The quality is rare. The price is high.
Around 714 AD, the Umayyads built the city of Anjar in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley. One of the finest surviving examples of early Islamic urban planning. Today, its remarkably preserved streets, palaces, and columns remain a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 750, power shifted east to the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. Under the Umayyad and later Abbasid Caliphates, Sunni Islam became firmly established across Lebanon's coastal cities. Beirut, Tripoli, and Sidon flourished as centers of trade, scholarship, and Islamic culture. As wars and political changes swept across the region, Maronite monks and families gradually moved into the mountains of Lebanon. The deep valleys of Qadisha became a place of refuge. Over the centuries, Lebanon became the spiritual home of the Maronite Church. By the 8th and 9th centuries, Shiite communities had become firmly established across southern Lebanon and the Bekaa Valley, and parts of Mount Lebanon. Over time, they developed a rich religious and cultural heritage that remains an integral part of Lebanon today. Beginning in the 7th century, Muslim armies conquered the region. Lebanon became part of successive Islamic caliphates. During the Fatimid period, the Druze faith emerged, adding another unique chapter to Lebanon's rich religious diversity.
The wisdom here suggests a new interpretation. It aligns with the ancient oral traditions.
Over time, many Druze communities settled in the mountains of Lebanon, where they became one of the country's historic religious communities. As central authority weakened over time, Mount Lebanon's rugged terrain allowed local communities, including the Maronites, to preserve their traditions and develop greater autonomy. In 1099, European Crusaders arrived in the Holy Land.
Watch the corner, keep it straight, stone is ready.
They built castles across the Lebanese coast and established the county of Tripoli. Many Maronites formed ties with the Crusaders while preserving their own traditions and identity.
From the mountain to the sea. From the sea to the mountain.
Muslim forces under Saladin gradually reclaimed much of the region, ending Fatimid rule and reversing many Crusader gains. Lebanon once again became part of a larger Middle Eastern empire. The Mamluks, elite warrior rulers from Egypt, defeated both the Mongols and the Crusaders. They also launched campaigns into Mount Lebanon to strengthen their control over the region. These events reshaped the population of areas such as Kisarwen and influenced Lebanon's religious landscape for centuries to come. In 1517, the Ottoman Empire conquered the Mamluks and ruled Lebanon for nearly 400 years.
The Druze Emirate awaits your command regarding the Ottoman demands.
We will respond in time.
Our vision is set on a greater Lebanon.
During this period, local leaders such as Fakhr al-Din II helped shape Mount Lebanon into a semi-autonomous region. The mountains became home to Maronite, Druze, Sunni, Shiite, and other communities living side by side. Following Fakhr al-Din II, the Shihab dynasty carried forward Mount Lebanon's tradition of self-rule. Despite remaining part of the Ottoman Empire, the mountain developed its own political character, where local leaders, diverse communities, and growing autonomy helped shape the foundations of modern Lebanon. By the mid-1800s, tensions between Druze and Maronite communities had grown under Ottoman rule. In 1860, violence erupted across Mount Lebanon, devastating villages and claiming thousands of lives. As the conflict unfolded, Yusuf Bey Karam emerged as one of the leading Maronite figures, defending the people of Aden and the surrounding region.
Remember why we fight. Stay disciplined and protect this land.
But for him, the struggle did not end with the civil conflict. In 1866, Yusuf Bey Karam led an armed rebellion against Ottoman rule, refusing to accept foreign-appointed governors and demanding greater autonomy for Mount Lebanon. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 transformed life across Lebanon. As the Ottoman Empire entered the war, the region became isolated from the outside world. Blockades disrupted trade, military rule intensified, and food and essential supplies grew increasingly scarce.
I am sorry, we have very little left. Only one measure per family today.
But what are we supposed to do when it runs out? My children are hungry.
The war would soon trigger a humanitarian catastrophe unlike anything Lebanon had experienced in centuries.
We must secure the northern border.
Driven by famine and economic hardship, many Lebanese emigrated across the world, creating a global diaspora that remains deeply connected to its homeland. Following the collapse of the Ottoman Empire after the First World War, France assumed control of the region.
En ce jour historique, la France reconnaît la formation du Grand Liban dans ses frontières naturelles. Que Dieu bénisse cette nouvelle nation.
On September 1st, 1920, the state of Greater Lebanon was proclaimed.
Le Grand Liban est proclamé.
For the first time, Lebanon's modern borders began to take shape. Following the Armenian genocide, thousands of Armenian refugees found safety in Lebanon. Many settled in Beirut and helped build thriving communities, contributing to the country's industry, education, arts, and culture. Today, the Armenian community remains an integral part of Lebanon's national identity. In 1943, Lebanon gained its independence, beginning a new chapter as a sovereign republic. Home to Christians, Muslims, Druze, and a small but vibrant Jewish community centered mainly in Beirut. For centuries, Lebanon's Jewish community had contributed to the country's commercial and cultural life. But over the following decades of regional conflict and, later, the Lebanese Civil War, most emigrated, leaving behind a rich but often overlooked chapter of Lebanon's history. Despite the challenges of a young nation, the decades that followed became known as Lebanon's golden years. Beirut flourished as the financial, cultural, and tourism capital of the Middle East, earning the nickname the Paris of the Middle East. On April 13, 1975, an attack on a passenger bus in Beirut became the spark that ignited the Lebanese Civil War. What began as a single tragic incident quickly escalated into violence that would transform the country forever. For 15 years, Lebanon endured violence, destruction, and political turmoil. Hundreds of thousands lost their lives or were displaced. Yet even after the war ended, the Lebanese people continued rebuilding their country. In 2019, Lebanon entered one of the worst economic crises in its history. Banks imposed strict withdrawal limits, the national currency lost much of its value, and millions of people faced growing hardship. Then, on August 4th, 2020, a massive explosion devastated the port of Beirut. Hundreds of lives were lost, thousands were injured, and entire neighborhoods were left in ruins, marking one of the darkest days in Lebanon's modern history. Today, Lebanon remains a nation shaped by every civilization that came before it. Its Roman temples still stand. Its Crusader castles overlook the sea. Ancient monasteries cling to mountain cliffs. Phoenician ports continue welcoming visitors more than 3,000 years after they first set sail. Every stone tells a story. Every valley preserves another chapter. Few places on Earth have witnessed so much history in such a small land. Lebanon is more than a country. It is a living timeline of civilizations, a place where East meets West, where ancient history meets modern life, and where 7,000 years of human history continue to shape the future. This is Lebanon.